the seventh year of marriage with Lin Jiyu. She took her lover home without any scruples. Worried that her lover would not be able to let go, she kicked me out of the house with a high fever. When I was beaten to death by gangsters in a dirty alley, she and her lover were having sex in bed. Your husband is so sick. What should I do if I faint outside? Lin Jiyu's tone was cold. It's good to die. She got her wish, and I died. The door of the living room creaked open and was slammed shut. Then there were ambiguous voices between men and women. It's Lin Jiyu who is back. We didn't have a good relationship in the first few years of marriage, and after making sure that I wouldn't interfere with her relationship outside, she became bolder and bolder. He often sent me a message to inform me, and he would take people home in a big way. Perhaps because of the virus in my body, I was angry for the first time. I walked out the door and silently turned on the light in the living room. The two people at the entrance were obviously startled. The young boy cursed, hugged Lin Jiyu, and looked at me provocatively, and said in a frivolous tone, "Uncle, are you responsible for satisfying your sister if you soften?" Lin Jiyu frowned and glanced at my haggard face in disgust. "Why are you at home? Didn't I send a message?" I slept all afternoon and didn't have time to check my phone. Because it was so uncomfortable, I said in a dry and hoarse voice, "You can take him to the hotel for one night tonight." When the words fell in her lover's ears, it became that I wanted to drive them out. The boy leaned on Lin Jiyu's neck and blew air. "Sister, Uncle doesn't welcome us. He won't please his sister as a son-in-law, and he doesn't have the eyesight yet. I don't know why I have been occupying this position," he said to Lin Jiyu's heart. Lin Jiyu thought I was dull and boring, and if her father hadn't forced us to get married, she wouldn't have looked down on me. The boy's words reminded her that I was just a soft eater and had no right to say no in front of her. So she had a calm face and an indifferent tone. "Get out." I was so weak that I didn't even have the strength to resist. Even though I repeatedly said that I was sick, I was still kicked out of the house without mercy. I slammed the door and begged her to throw away a piece of clothing or let me take my phone. And in response to me, the voice of male and female love resounded in the house. It was late at night at this time, and after being kicked out, I was wearing thin clothes and walking aimlessly on the street, until I met a group of drunken gangsters. They stopped me for money, searched around and couldn't find it, so they took me out of anger, rained down punches and kicks on me. I hunched over, the constant pain in my body tugging at my nerves. The cold wind in winter made me shiver. The tip of my nose was filled with a strong smell of tobacco and alcohol, as well as the smell of blood on my head. I don't know how long this one-sided violent beating lasted. My head was dizzy, and there was darkness in front of me. A large mouthful of blood accumulated in his chest, and finally he vomited it out. Wow, blooming with big red on the white snow. By the time the gangsters noticed, I had already lost my breath. They fled in a panic, leaving only my bluish body. I stood not far away like an outsider, looking at myself as I was gradually buried in the snow. I vaguely remembered that many years ago, on such a snowy day, my mother took me to Lin's house. At that time, Lin Jiyu was like a princess in a fairy tale, wearing plush clothes to greet me, stuffed the hot milk in my hand into my hand. She smiled brightly and warmly. "Drink it quickly, it's cold outside, don't catch a cold." And now Lin Jiyu will no longer care about me as much as he did at the beginning, because she hated me and followed her father's words and married her. When the sky was slightly bright, I floated back home. Lin Jiyu's lover was sitting in the study fiddling with my computer, and he made a tisk sound from time to time. I saw him tap his fingers and smile at his lips. The next second, he changed to a nervous and helpless expression. "Sister, I accidentally deleted your husband's project plan. He won't be angry." Lin Jiyu walked over in her pajamas, skillfully kissed the man on the cheek, and said indifferently, "Let him do it again." She didn't know that this was a plan I had been working on for several days and nights. Or even if she knew, she didn't care. Lin Jiyu is a pampered eldest lady, because her mother died early and Lin's father ed on her very much. As a result, she didn't know anything about managing company affairs, and she was unwilling to learn. Helplessly, Lin's father had to find a trustworthy person to take care of her. So I was adopted by the Lin family and naturally became the best choice. The deleted plan is a very important cooperation for the company, and if I were still alive, I would probably have to have a discussion with her about it. But I'm dead. If you don't care about the aftermath during your lifetime, the same is true after death. Do I hate the Lin family? No. If it weren't for the Lin family, I wouldn't have known where I would have died, far from the days when I had no worries about food and clothing. But it is impossible to say that there is no complaint at all. Lin Jiyu has a bad temper and has clear likes and dislikes. In the past few years, I have been humiliated in front of her and her second-generation friends. And the little lovers, she kept taking care of one after another. Lin Jiyu arranged for her lover to be her assistant in the company with great fanfare. They flirt regardless of the occasion. Everyone in the company knows how cowardly I am as the son-in-law of the Lin family. Our marriage exists in name only. Sometimes when I heard the movement coming from Lin Jiyu's office, the employees under me couldn't help but feel a little more sympathetic when they looked at my expression. I can only endure it in silence. Her behavior also made her lover more unscrupulous. The most ugly time was when her lover came to me to provoke me. One or two irrelevant words. I just turned a deaf ear and didn't bother to get angry. But he should never insult my dead mother. The boy with red lips and white teeth is very youthful and reckless, and he didn't know where he found out about the past of my mother and Lin's father. Proudly came to my office to mock. Mr. Song really sat still. If I were you, I would have gone home early. Why should I lose this person in the company? I looked up from the document and glanced at the uninvited guest in front of me. He only said indifferently, "You don't feel ashamed to do 3. Why should I feel ashamed as a legitimate husband?" It seemed to be stimulated by my indifferent attitude, and the boy snorted coldly. If you want me to say that some people are really shameless, the mother has not succeeded in hooking up with the father, and the son has to enter the door of the Lin family at all costs, and the mother and son are as cheap. This sentence completely ignited my anger. I grabbed the man's neck and pressed him to the ground and beat him hard, and when the others arrived, he had already been beaten by me. His nose was blue and his face was swollen. Lin Jiyu let out a scream, pulled me away, pointed at the man who was half lying on the ground, and said angrily, "Song Sion, you are crazy. Hurry up and tell him." My eyes were red, and I gasped. Do you know what he said? No matter what he says, you can't hit anyone. Apologize quickly, otherwise you will get me out of the Lin family. He said my mother seduced your dad. Lin Jiyu was stunned for a moment, but she still stiffened her neck and said, "He didn't say anything wrong. Did your mother dare to do it and not admit it?" I stared at her, shouting her name word by word to warn, "Lin, no you." She was startled by the anger in my eyes and looked away from her and stopped talking. Perhaps she also knew that this time it was embarrassing, and from that day on, she replaced this lover. When Lin's father found out, he scolded her. He also said to me earnestly, "Lin Jiyu still cares about me. Otherwise he wouldn't have broken up with that boy so quickly." I just smiled at this and didn't take it seriously. Seeing my attitude, Father Lin lowered his head and sighed. "How good you two used to be. Why are you like this now? Do you get along well?" It seems that it is true, but the addition of bad words over the years has already exhausted the friendship of the year. In fact, Lin Jiyu and I first met at that time, and the relationship was diametrically opposite to what it is now, and it can even be said to be friendly. When I first came to Lin's house, I felt uncomfortable with the life of a wealthy family and was often restrained, so Lin Jiyu took me to integrate. She introduced me to her friends and told them to take care of me. When I was in school, I took the initiative to ask the teacher to sit with me. Even because of my ridiculous self-esteem, every time I didn't arrive at school, the driver put me halfway, and Lin Jiyu didn't laugh or be dissatisfied. Instead, he got off the bus with me and accompanied me to school. At that time, everyone said that I was favored by Miss Lin and envied me. Most of the rich young ladies and young masters in this kind of aristocratic school looked down on poor students. So naturally I was ostracized as well. I always remember that when I was dragged into the toilet and bullied by a group of boys, it was Lin Jiyu who broke in with a broom. She said, "Song Sion is a member of my Lin family, and whoever embarrass him will not get along with me, Lin Jiyu." She was like a goddess coming from the light, pulling me out of the quagmire. The young Song Sion, from the first meeting, hid Lin Jiyu in his heart. She was my dream that I could not hope for, quietly took root in my heart, and unknowingly grew into a towering tree. Father Lin asked me to marry her. I was willing, but in this marriage, I was the only one who was willing. Lin Jiyu and her lover went out, and when they passed by the street, they encountered an alley full of people. The boy leaned over and listened. Sister, I heard that someone died. It's so scary, you must take me with you when you go out recently. Lin Jiyu obviously liked this kind of thoughtful remark very much, and hooked her lips and smiled. The boy said again, Sister's husband went out last night. Will he also encounter danger? Lin Jiyu glanced at the crowd and said indifferently, It's good to really meet them. Even if I didn't have expectations for her for a long time, my heart still sank suddenly at this moment. The heart was like a big hole, and the cold wind poured it in. Lin Jiyu sat in the company for most of the day, and my assistant found her. Mr. Lin, Mr. Song didn't come today. Is he sick? After hearing this, her eyes flashed with impatience. Ask me what to do? Go find him yourself. Assistant Chen's face froze, and he quickly apologized. Sorry, Mr. Song can't get through to the phone. I think you and he are. He didn't say the rest of the words. It is estimated that he really can't take us. Let's associate it with the word husband and wife. After Assistant Chen left, Lin Jiyu's brows furrowed. I guess she was wondering if I had a mobile phone when I was kicked out last night. She couldn't remember clearly, so she simply didn't bother to think about it. One more thing is better than one less, and I listened to her whispering to herself. Such a big person, can you still lose it? Lin Jiyu left everything behind and brushed up on the new clothing bag of the season. She doesn't care about the world, so she doesn't know that the company has a big business to talk about today. In the afternoon, the partner came over to talk, and the assistant came over again. Mr. Lin, Mr. Song still hasn't contacted me. The representative over there has already come. Lin Jiyu was a little unhappy. Mr. Song, will his company go bankrupt? But I haven't come for a day, so I kept asking, did I pay you to eat white rice? Assistant Chun was choked by her words and walked out speechlessly. He muttered for a while, even if it is a small order, such a big project worth hundreds of millions of dollars must have a boss present to make decisions. She just let go of her hands and didn't care about anything. The people below are going to be worried to death. Unable to find my person, Assistant Chun could only bite the bullet and let the other party go back first, and then talk about it after cooperation. I pursed my lips and looked at Lin Jiyu lying in the office chair expressionlessly. In an instant, I seemed to see the bleak future of the company. When Lin Jiyu really reacted to looking for me, it was already 3 days later. I floated in midair and watched her open my door. Looking at the cold room, she realized that she hadn't seen me for several days. Every day when I get home, the first thing I see is a dark living room. I watched quietly as she pulled out my number from my address book. The bell rang in bed. Her expression went blank for a moment, her eyebrows twisted slightly, and she muttered, I really didn't bring a mobile phone. As soon as the words fell, her expression gradually changed, and she suddenly sneered. Even her fists were clenched, and she said indignantly, I don't know who I'm fooling around. I was stunned in vain. I didn't know where she got this conclusion. Wasn't it her who fooled around? When she scolded the 3 words, Jiang Shuriwe, in a low voice in anger, I understood why she said I was fooling around outside.